Good morning, everyone. The Design Duo here, and we are so excited because today we're going to continue with our series of women in business, and we have Heidi running with us with Nature's Embrace Soap Company. We are super excited to have you, Heidi. Thank you so much for joining us. We're so proud of you and your journey, and we just want to learn a little bit more about you. If you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, thank you, first of all, for asking me to be on this. That was quite a surprise, and I was very honored. So thank you for having me. And as Sky said, my name is Heidi, and you guys know that I own a soap company here in Detroit Lakes. I am a wife, a mother. I enjoy yoga and houseplants and decorating. And yeah, my soap making began about 15 years ago, but it didn't really take off until the last 4 years or so. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. I was born, raised around here, graduated from Frazee 25 years ago now, and life just kept me here all of those years since. So.
Awesome. That's awesome. I love your story. And I mean, people don't know the whole story here, but I love that you kind of took your own passion and you transformed that into something that's a successful business and people know you for, because it's truly rooted in who you are and what you want to represent. So Nature's Embrace Soap Company is a great name. I just want to kind of ask, how did you come up with that in the very beginning?
Yeah, so I first got into soap making back in 2008, so almost 16 years ago now, and that is when I fell in love with soap making and started selling my products at flea markets and craft shows and whatnot. And so I came up with a name well back then, and to be honest, it came from a drawing first, so I couldn't come up with a name, but I also like to draw, and so I sat down and drew up, and I actually have a picture of it. I drew up like this flower, and the top of it kind of looked like a sun, and that was kind of how it just came to be Nature's Embrace. And it's not odd, but makes a little more sense these days. Back then I was making soaps with tallow and lard and things like that. So not really a lot of embrace from nature when you think about it. But fast forward to when I relaunched the company in 2020 and switched all my ingredients to plant-based ingredients, and it just made sense to keep that name, right? And, you know, like Very now cool. It's going to stay Nature's Embrace.
Yep. So regarding the Nature's Embrace name, and back to how you learned how to make soap, what made you decide to wake up one morning and say, I want to learn how to make soap?
Actually, my soap making began when I was doing an online search for what to do with some extra leftover products from a candle making kit. So back in 2008, my mom and I had bought a soy candle making kit because we wanted to just make some cleaner burning candles for the home. And when we were done, we had leftover ingredients. And we were like, what should we do? What do we do with these ingredients? I don't know what else to do with these oils and such, right? So that's when I took to an online search to see like what else are people doing, and I came across cold processed soap. And when you read on cold processed soap, it's quite a process, and it can be very finicky, and lots of what I read on it said good luck, and for me that was a challenge. I was like, I've got to try this. I've got these oils and I've got these things that I can try. And so I made that first batch of soap all those years ago, and I was hooked immediately. And I hadn't added anything like fragrances or any additives of any sort. So as soon as that first batch was done, I was like, I want to make another and another and another. So once I started making it, and I just couldn't stop. And so that's when I decided, like, hey, maybe other people would want to buy these. And so back then I just started signing up for craft shows and flea markets and street fairs and kind of getting my soaps out that way.
Well with that, because now, I mean, you're obviously started a business.
Yes.
So what brought you to the point of where you're like, okay, doing flea markets, I'm doing all this stuff, I want to actually have a storefront?
Yeah, all of that kind of is a couple of stories in itself. But when I started in 2008, I was just doing the flea markets and the craft shows and such. And then in 2010, I had some stuff that shifted in my life. And when I landed on the other side of those changes, I suddenly was living in an apartment and was dating my husband now, but we had 5 kids, and so it just didn't make sense to be jumping around to flea markets and craft shows and all of those things, right?
That's very time consuming, and then traveling to get there and everything else too.
Yeah. Okay. And so it was quickly decided that this just wasn't right for what we needed at our income. And so actually in 2011, I stopped making soap and I went back to work full time. And so it wasn't until 2020 when the pandemic hit and I lost my just very part-time job at the time, did I start making soap again because I had the extra time. And
Which
that's
is
when,
so awesome.
yeah,
Such
that's
a cool story.
That's when I discovered that suddenly, we kind of, my husband and I talked it out again. Like, do we want to do those craft shows and those flea markets and things? But we knew right away that wasn't the lifestyle for us. And so I built the e-commerce website and got things rolling in a different direction the second time.
So cool.
Yeah.
So cool to see that passion come alive. And your bars of soap are beautiful. Can you show
Yes.
some of them to us and explain,
Yeah.
the detail that you put into these, the designs that you can come up with, the seasonal ones, all the things are just amazing. Really, if you haven't been to Heidi's Nature's Embrace Soap Company, she is currently moving. Tell us where you're moving to.
Yeah, so we are moving to right downtown at 833 Washington Avenue on the corner of Washington and Home Street across from La Barista.
The old mainstream boutique.
Yep.
So perfect primary spot right there on
Yes.
the corner. And then I want to know, because you've told me this before, but I want you to tell everybody else what your ultimate goal was for location and how happy you are.
Yeah.
You know where I'm going with that.
It was around this time last year where I'm at currently at 1208 Rossman Avenue, so down by the Rossman Elementary. And we all know how quiet it gets around here in the winter time. And I got done on one very slow Saturday down there, and I came up here and I saw it was just a lot more hustle and bustle, lots of people walking around and shopping and whatnot. And it clicked to me at that time that I wanted to be uptown. And so it was shortly after that I started talking with the other businesses. I know I mentioned it to you gals and some of the other owners up there that I, be watching for a spot. I'd really love to be in that 800 or 900 block, ultimately. Yeah. And so, when this spot came available smack dab in the middle of those two blocks, I was like, what?
It was like meant to be. You put that good energy in the universe and it came back.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
And it's going to be beautiful.
Oh,
we
we're
have
so
no
excited.
doubt. One thing that made me smile when you said what you love is houseplants.
Yeah.
And that's just the whole vibe of Heidi. If you don't know Heidi, I mean, she's very just down to earth. And I just think that entire vibe is totally you. So good job bringing that out into your space
Thank
as
you.
well.
Thank you.
So let's go to the soaps for a second because I want to know, can you list off a few of your top selling soaps?
Yeah, absolutely. So my lavender lemongrass, which I don't have here today, that is my top seller. It has been my top seller since I made soap back in 2010, and it quickly became my top seller again. It's just a really nice, light, not too heavy or too musky.
Love that one.
Yeah, and so it's really a customer favorite. The black raspberry vanilla that I have here is also a favorite.
Let's smell.
Is that this one?
Yep, and this one has cranberry seeds in it, so it also offers a little bit of exfoliation if you use the bar directly on the skin. And then I also brought a bar of the goats and oats. So this one is made with goat's milk from a local Amish farm right in Frazee.
Very cool.
And it's made with colloidal oatmeal and honey. And this is our only naked bar. So this is a bar that is unscented. It's a really good for sensitive skin and people who might have sensitivities to scents and such.
So that's cool that you have that option.
Yeah. And then
your next one
this
looks really
one
colorful.
is up and coming. This will launch when we open the new store in a couple weeks. This is our Easter egg soap. So it comes
cute.
out every
It's
year.
so adorable.
Yeah. And this is where I get to kind of let my artistry shine in my soaps as well. So this is just a 5-layer soap. It's in a sunflower and sandalwood blend of oils.
I love that. That's so cool.
They're adorable and they're perfect gifts. I mean,
Perfect gifts.
we kind of, go in there and get them for ourselves just because we love them. But at the same time, like, what a perfect way to bring something special back home or just to send somebody something where you want to make them know that you're thinking about them,
I think it's one of those things too that like once you use one of Heidi's soaps, it's practically impossible to
It's
go
addicting.
back to a regular soap because I'll go in there and like stock up on like 5-6 bars, which I'm almost out of, by the way. And then I brought them home and my husband's like, we need more of Heidi's soap. Like he loves it too. And it is the best. I mean, once you switch over to them, like, oh crap, I ran out and now I'm using a Dove bar of soap. It's not the same.
Not the same at all.
At all. So I'd recommend if you haven't tried it, definitely get over there and try them. They're amazing. I've bought them for gifts for people too, and now they are using them constantly also. So good job on that.
Thank
and then you
you.
just recently went to market, so you're growing. You went to market. You want to offer more products in your shop, your new shop. And so tell us what some of those are going to be. Because it's not just bar soap. What else is it?
No. So the new location is going to be about 5 times the size of our current location.
Holy.
Which means
lots to fill.
Yeah.
Lots to fill.
I was quickly trying to figure out what to fill it all with. And so, my husband and I took a trip to the Atlanta market in January and shopped some vendors there and found some great things. But my main objective with the new store will be to obviously highlight the soaps because that's one of our biggest sellers. But I'm looking to make it a refillery. So in that way, or what I kind of mean by that is a place where you come to buy your cleaning or bathroom products and you're buying them by the ounce. So you would come in with your reusable jar or we have, jars that you can buy and then you fill it up with the contents and then you just bring your jar back every
love
time.
that.
I love that. It's like the oil and vinegar places that you can go to
Yes.
and pick your oils and vinegars and that's so cool.
Yeah. So we'll have bath salts, we'll have cleaning products, we'll have kitchen accessory or kitchen, like kitchen soaps. We're going to eventually add some shampoos and conditioners. And the great thing about all of the products is that they're made by other companies, other small batch makers like myself around the United States. And they're all clean. So all of them have very clean products.
Question. Yes, because of your whole theme you have going on with your already soaps. So that's amazing. So next question is you have a strong online presence, correct? So she is not just a local soap maker here. She's local to us, but tell us about all the different areas that you've shipped to and how much of your business is actually online.
Yeah, so my business started initially in the basement of our home as an e-commerce website. Mm-hmm. So we were selling the soaps just from our online presence, and then people could pick up at our house or shipping nationwide. And so that quickly spread, with just friends and family alone that live various places, and then they start using it and telling their friends. And so we ship everywhere around the United States right now. I have customers in New York, California, Arizona, Florida,
so
all
cool.
over.
That is amazing. And to see the growth from you just really starting as like, oh, I have extra ingredients. I'm going to turn this into like a hobby. Okay, now I'm addicted.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't do this
I'm
right
really
now.
Good at
just
it.
the whole journey of everything. And you're so good at it. And everything that you produce, I mean, it makes you feel good that like, I'm sure that you're creating a little bit more of a sense of sustainability.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love that. So, I mean, the cleaning products and all the new things that you're bringing to the table, I think is genius. And I'm excited to go and get some for myself.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then also particular events and particular businesses. You customize soap. Let's talk about that a little bit, about your customization and what you're able to do for people and some of the other projects that you've already done for people.
Yeah. So kind of like with my Easter egg soap, my artistic side screams out sometimes. And so I get to pour that into my soaps. And so I have a lot of customers who will come to me, businesses and such. Detroit Mountain, for instance, we did a pretty cool soap with their logo in it. I can't always do logos, but theirs was pretty conducive to being able to make the things that I needed for that. But we do have other custom soaps, for instance, Bluebird Books.
Yeah.
Amy came in, she brought me her paint swatches and her favorite perfume. And I did some research on the notes and the tones that go along in that perfume. And then I was able to replicate it for the most part with my essential oils.
That is so cool.
Isn't that fun? And so we made her a fun custom soap that she sells specifically just at Bluebird Books that matches with her store and smells how she wants it to smell.
Yeah.
Aww.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and we have other,
cool.
like the Yoga Studio 180 Balance carries that as well, a couple custom bars. So yeah, it's a fun thing.
So if someone came to you and said, hey, I'm having a big event, it's a big anniversary or something on that, can you do a custom soap? How much time in advance would they need?
Yeah, I tell my customers typically 6 to 8 weeks. So because of the soap making process that I use, there are no additives to dry it any faster. And so it does take 4 to 6 weeks to cure once I pour the bars before they go out for sale or can go to the customer.
So you're planning way in advance for Easter.
Yes.
And how far in advance? 8 weeks in advance when you're pouring these?
I would like to be 8 weeks in advance. The hopes with the new location is that we are also, I'm adding a whole bunch of new equipment that I haven't had in the past. So I've been more of a small batch soap making company. And these tanks will allow me to keep all of my oils and butters heated and at temperature that I need them. So just to kind of summarize that a little bit, when I'm making the soap, I'm using butters and oils that are at room temperature. And so some of those are hard at room temperature, right? And I have to melt them down. And right now I put them into a bowl and put them in a microwave. But as the recipes continue to get bigger, because I'm trying to produce more, the microwave isn't conducive to that. So
Sure.
I'm buying these tanks in which I'll keep my oils in, and they'll be able to stay at the temperature that I need them. And then I'll just dispense them into my bowl from there. And so point being, the hope is that this will really speed up my process. And that it will allow me to get a little bit more ahead of schedule. It's been working so far, but with the new location coming, I'm like, I have to up my game here. So we've been doing a lot of studying on what that looks like in the soap making world. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. And you plan to have some employees.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have 2 employees right now who are part-time, and we'll be bringing on, I think, 3 more part-time employees with the new location. That's the goal. So
that's amazing. Good.
Yeah.
And Rob is an extreme supporter of yours.
Yeah.
A believer in all the things. So would you say that he's your number one supporter in your business?
Absolutely.
For sure. And you guys are best friends, and I love that relationship. I know them personally, and I love your guys' relationship. I think that's fantastic. There's nothing better than having a significant other that helps you with all those things. Just like when we visited with Angie and last week, and she was talking about Brandon. And that means the world, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. It really does. And he's been so supportive all the way, even back in those early years when we were sitting at craft shows and flea markets and such. And it's interesting. I was reminded this week of, just came to me. We were doing the street fair back in 2011. I think that was the last year I did the street fair here in Detroit Lakes. But oddly enough, we were right outside those doors of La Barista from the mall right there in front of Mainstream Boutique. Yeah. And I remember he and I have always dreamt of working together. And so I remember just sitting there that day and dreaming about, like someday we're going to work together and it's going to be amazing. And so coming 15 years or 13 years past that point now, and moving into that storefront right there, and having that glimmer of maybe someday we will work together, is just absolutely surreal.
So cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an amazing story.
Strange question, because when I bought soap before in the summer, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I should leave this bag in my car. Does soap melt?
Soap does not melt.
Do you get that question?
Absolutely, I get that question.
So soap does not melt?
It will not
never
melt.
known. Yeah.
No, it will start to sweat, so it does get kind of slippery on the outside. Okay. But you can bring it in and put it in a cool, dry place, and it will dry right away again. So
it's a good question.
That's a very good question.
So we all go through challenges as our businesses grow, and I want to know from you, like, what are some challenges that you've had to face, and what would you tell other people that are trying to get out and do something on their own that they're passionate about? So like, start off with the first question. I'm sorry for asking you 2 in a row, but what are some challenges you had to face as a growing business?
When I think about the challenges, they really come more from a personal stance than a business stance. My confidence and my self-worth have been such a thing for me to conquer. I made some choices in my 20s and those young and wild years. And when I landed on the other side of that, I was feeling pretty down and out, and so for a lot of years I had done a job that needed to be done to make ends meet, but not something that fulfilled me. And so as I started to come out of that and start to realize, like, I want to do something that serves me, right, and serves other people as well. And it was quite a bit of work in just being vulnerable, right? Like saying, I have this product, I have this thing I want to do, and then just putting it out there.
Yeah. And having like belief within yourself, like, okay, this is going to be successful, and it'll be what it'll be, but I believe in it, and I have hope, and
absolutely
having the encouragement that you had. I mean, I'm sure that was a huge process for you to see, okay, we can do this. I feel good about this. And then I just want to ask too, like, whenever you first got your e-commerce store started, when that first sale came through, what was that like?
Well, first of all, I'll never forget who it was. So she will always be so special to me. And yeah, it was really exciting. I was laughing listening to Angie's, because she talked about the cha-ching, and I remember having that cha-ching. You guys, I had it for almost a year I would let my phone cha-ching, and then one day I was like, you have
Put
to
it on
stop this. Like, you are obsessing over this cha-ching, you know? Like, business is fine.
I get the
just
cha-ching.
turn
I'm
it
like
off.
waiting for the cha-ching every day. I'm like, I haven't heard any cha-chings today.
So I have had my cha-ching turned off since 2021, but yeah, it was very exciting. You know,
Yeah.
you just think, I made all this soap, I did all this work, all these photos, all these descriptions, all this website building, you know, learning things that I never thought I'd be learning, how to code. So yeah, when you pour all of your heart and soul into it, it's huge when you get that first sale.
Oh, yes.
That's
Yeah.
so cool. So would you say you're an introvert or an extrovert?
Oh, that's such a tough question for me because I like both, you know.
She dabbles in both.
You know, when I'm at the shop and I'm there working and I'm with customers, I'm alive and I love connecting with them.
Because you're passionate
and
about
sharing.
it.
Yes, yeah. But there is also nothing better at the end of the day than just going home and being done.
I
You
think
know,
that the
and-
thing about you, Heidi, is that initially maybe you were an introvert until you found what you love doing and became an extrovert.
Okay.
Because you're passionate about what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's easy for you to pull that out
Yeah.
during that time.
Yeah,
Would that sound
totally
accurate?
makes sense. Absolutely.
Like, so I think if there's introverts that are sitting there watching this right now, what would you say to them about, and other women and other people that are sitting there going, I'm really not doing what I'm passionate about. I really love doing this. How do I take that leap of faith and go after it?
Yeah, I think it's so important, especially as women and mothers and wives and all of those things, to find those things in our life that feed us outside of those purposes, right? Like, and for me, that was, you know, back 6 or 8 years ago, was getting into yoga and just trying to find those things outside of my family, outside of being a wife, that fed me. And I think that's so important, whether you make it a business or not. That's not the point. The point is to find those things in your life that really speak to you and make life better, right? Like,
Right.
just kind of giving you,
100%.
yeah.
Yeah.
Embracing being your unique and individual person. What makes you
Nature's
happy?
embrace.
Nature's embrace. There you
Embrace
go.
it.
I get it.
Opening date. Where are we sitting? For,
Oh my gosh,
What
so-
what are we going to tell people that our opening date is going to
Yeah.
be about?
When is this? How far out till this, like?
Oh,
Like, is
yeah.
it a week,
Well,
a day?
it could
Yeah.
be soon.
Okay.
Tomorrow.
Cass is like, I'm beat red. Don't look at me.
Friday.
her that question. It'll probably be a couple weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would think by the time that this is coming out, we should be close to opening.
So-
We're actually closing tomorrow. Tomorrow will be our last day open at our current location.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go full on the next couple weeks. My hope is to open just very softly March 18th.
Okay.
But I've never done this before in this capacity.
March
so-
18th. You know what's cool about that?
What?
That's the day that I opened up Design to Sell 5 years ago.
No way.
Mhm. I just thought of that. Yeah. Isn't that cool?
That's so cool.
March 18th. So
It's a
now you
special
gotta make
day.
it happen.
Soul
So
sister.
Yeah, you gotta make it happen for us.
Yeah, right? Oh, I love that.
that's cool. So we're having a soft opening?
Yeah.
Okay. Are we getting
we're gonna-
soft opening invitations?
We're going to talk about what a soft opening looks like. That's going to happen after this recording.
Yeah, we can
Soft
do that.
opening is good. People are curious. They
Yeah.
want to
Yes.
see that paper ripped off the windows. They want to know what's it about. They want to be one of the
Yes.
first people through the
Yes.
door and check it out. And I think that is part of the fun of having that soft opening, is you've got a bunch of nosy/curious people that are like, ooh, what's she doing in there? What's it going to
And
look
it feels
like?
so good to finally be like, we're like 99.9% done with, you guys have been doing the renovations. You and your husband have been there like every time I drive by, I look for his truck and I'm like, oh, he is over there again.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of dedicated time and effort that goes into like doing this renovations that you guys are doing. So the soft opening, to just see people's faces and like the excitement for yourselves, it's just kind of come to fruition.
Yeah.
All right. One last final question. Well, it might not be final, but what is your personal favorite scent of your bars that you make?
I am a patchouli lover, so anything that has patchouli in it, my customers know that about me. I think our patchouli orange bar goes back 15 years ago to when I used to make soap, so that one's really nostalgic for me. When I started pouring soap again in 2020, I had made some, and I was using it in the shower when my husband came into the bathroom, and he could smell, and he's just like, there it is. Like, just could remember,
That's a
from
cool
before.
memory. I love that.
And so, but also lately the dirty mint, which is a spearmint
that.
peppermint with patchouli mixture. And that one has poppy seeds in it too, is one of my absolute favorites.
Yes,
So
love that. Very cool. I would say the lavender one is also my favorite too. I mean, I've bought that one over and over and over again. And the dirty mint.
Yeah.
There too. Do you have a favorite, Roxanne, that you've tried?
Yeah. Is it blueberry lemongrass? What was your top seller?
The lavender lemongrass.
Lavender
Yes.
lemongrass.
Yeah.
I love lavender.
Yeah.
That's like such a soothing scent to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one sells, that lavender lemongrass. I probably sell 2 to 1 over any other bar with that bar. Is just so popular.
Yeah,
So.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh
Do you
my
have
gosh.
anything left to leave the viewers with?
Oh, goodness. That question wasn't on my list. No, just thank you to you ladies for your support, not only with this podcast, but just in life in general, and to the community has just been fabulous. And yeah, I think for anyone who, has a passion out there that you love, whatever that might be, just sit with that and see what it looks like. Maybe it does just look like a hobby, but also what if it looks like something more?
Exactly. I like that. I like that. Yeah. So March 18th, opening date is what we're hoping for Nature's Embrace. She'll be in the old Mainstream Boutique building. If you haven't been to her other location, you'll want to make sure you make it to this one.
Yeah.
Lots of amazing soaps. If you've never tried these, it's a must. And when I say that, it's addictive also. So super proud of your successes and everything that you've done. You are an inspiration to our community. And thank you so much for joining us on our podcast today.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.